Hello students, this is Shweta Roy. This video is for chapter 4 History part 1 Colonialism and Tribal Societies. In this video we are going to discuss about tribal livelihoods. In that we have some subtopics like cultivation of food, hunting and food gathering, labor work, herding of animals, settled cultivation of crops. So these are some of the subtopics of tribal livelihood. So first we will discuss about the tribal livelihood, and then we will go to our next topic, change in the life of tribals after colonialism. In that we have three subtopics: political impact, economical impact and social impact. But here we will only discuss about the political impact and the economical impact. So these are some of the topics and subtopics which we are going to discuss in this video. Now you must have heard about the peoples who live in forest, remote forest areas, jungles. These peoples who live in forest and jungles, they have their own traditions, they have their own language and customs. Also they have their own laws which they follow. And they depend totally on forest for their livelihood. These groups of people are called tribes. And they have their wealth as these natural resources of the forest. Now, in 19th century, there were number of tribal groups who lived in large part of India. They lived in isolation. They were still part of Indian society. A tribe is a social division in a traditional society consisting of linked families or communities with a common culture and dialect. Now, some of these tribes in India are Santals, the Khons and the Khasis. So these are some of the tribes of the India. Now when we talk about the livelihood of the tribals, we will understand more about this with our next topic, tribal livelihoods. Now a number of activities are done by them for their sustenance. As you know, the life of forest is very difficult to live. So there are many ways, many activities which they do for the sustenance in the difficult life of the forest. In that, the first we have is cultivation of food. They grow crops, they cultivate food. Now they practice jhum cultivation or the shifting cultivation. They have small patches of land which are burned in the forest to clear them for the cultivation. First they burn it and they clear it for cultivation. Now when they burn the land, the ash which is obtained from that fire has potash, and potash is it is used to fertilize the soil. It is very useful to fertilize the soil. Now the sunlight for the crops was assured by the cutting the tree tops. They used to cut the top of the trees so that sunlight can be obtained. Now instead of sowing the seeds, they used to scatter on the field. They used to broadcast and they used to scatter the seeds on the field. And once the crop is ready for harvest, the tribals move on to another tract of land. They go to another tract of land and there they again cultivate the crops. Now when they shift to another land, another tract of land, that another tract of land was earlier cultivated. It was already cultivated, earlier it was cultivated and it was left for many years. They used to leave these lands fallow for many years so that these lands can gain their fertility. If continuously they are cultivating the crop on the same tract of land, same land piece, the fertility will decrease. There will be no fertility in the soil because the minerals of the soil is already consumed by the plants. It takes time to again get the fertility, again get the minerals. So what they do, they leave the land for some years so that it can again gain the fertility, and this is called shifting cultivation. That means once they cultivated on that land, they will leave that land fallow for many years, and after that they will go to some another tract of land. There they will cultivate. After many years, when the land is again fertile, again it gained its fertility, again they will come back on that land and the other land will be now left for many years. Okay, so like this they are doing the shifting cultivation. They keep shifting from one land to another. They grow crops on one land for some time. After that they leave that land fallow for some time and they go to another land. Again they cultivate on another land, leave that one fallow for some time, and again they come back to the first one. So like this they were doing the shifting cultivation, and like this the fertility of the land was also taken care of. Now this was practiced mainly by the tribals of northeast and central India, and like this they kept moving from one fertile land to another and sustained themselves. Now hunting and food gathering, this was their second process. The Khons of Odisha, they mainly lived by hunting and food gathering like early people. They went out for hunting in groups and they used to divide the meat among themselves. Also, they used to extract oil from the seeds like shal and mahua, and they use this as cooking foods. So basically you see, they used to hunt the animals, they used to divide the meat among themselves, they used to gather some seeds, they used to extract oils from that and they used to cook food. They also used to eat the forest fruits and roots of some trees. So like this they were basically living the life of early people, if you see. Now by living in forest for many years, the Khons, they acquired knowledge about the medicinal herbs and shrubs. As you know, they were isolated from the outer area, outer world. They were totally dependent on the forest for their food as well as their medicines. So they were having a good knowledge of herbs and shrubs, medicinal herbs and shrubs. Now they used to sell this medicinal herbs and shrubs in the local markets, and in return they acquire the goods which they need from the people. which they cannot get in the forest. So those things they used to take from the people, and they used to sell the um, medicinal herbs and shrubs to them. Now, labor work. Some of the tribal people also they worked as agricultural laborers in the fields of zamindars. We will discuss about that, but here you can see the Jhum cultivation in Garo Hill, they are burning. Now, Jhum cultivation and shifting cultivation, it is also called slash and burn cultivation. So you can see the picture. Here we will continue with our topic labor work. So there was a reduction in forest supplies due to famine or fire. Because of the famine and fire, the forest supply reduced, and because of that it was now not sufficient for the tribals, livelihood of the tribals, and they came out of the forest in the search of work, and they worked as agricultural laborers in the field of zamindars, as well as they have been hired by the planters and riots. Now you have read about these planters and riots in the Indigo Rebellion in our previous chapter. So these tribal people worked as agricultural laborers. They worked in the lands of planters and riots. Also they worked in the factories and mines. Now, some of the tribal areas were often penetrated by traders, moneylenders or contractors. Now the traders came to sell their goods either at high prices or in exchange of forest produce. Whatever they were producing, they need to give from that, or they have to take the good at higher prices. Money lenders also gave loan to these tribals at high rates of the interest. Now contractors came in search of labor at low prices. The contractors were giving them low price, the traders were selling their goods at high price, money lenders gave them loan at high interest, high rate of interest. So their income was very low, but for their livelihood they have to there was a situation to pay high price. Now because of this, the dependency of tribals on these countrymen were increased, as they were not having the sufficient forest supply, and they were not having good income. They were getting very low price for their work, but to live for their livelihood there was a situation to pay more money. So in that situation they became dependent on the countrymen, and many of these tribal people they reduced to poverty or came under heavy debts. So this was the situation at the last. Also there is one thing which you should know. There was a Baigat tribals who were of central India. They lived only on forest produce because they considered shame to work as laborers for others. But this was not the condition for every tribal people. So their condition became very pathetic at the end. So next subtopic we have is herding animals. Now a number of tribal groups were pastorals. They used to roam about from one place to another with their herd of animals. शूट 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 शूट, ये क्या हो गया? गड़बड़ हो गया क्या? So like this, they were pastoral. Pastoral means they were having land for grazing of animals. When the food resources and the grass of one area was exhausted, they move on to other lands. Now some of the example of herders are the Van Gujars of Punjab and the Labodis of Andhra Pradesh, who reared animals, who reared cattle. Now the Gaddis of Kullu, they were shepherds, and the Bakarwals of Kashmir, they used to rear goats. So this is the herding of animals. Settled cultivation of crops. Some tribal groups like Mundas of Chota Nagpur. Chota Nagpur is the plateau. Now the tribal groups of Chota Nagpur like Mundas, they began settling down instead of moving from one place to another. Like the Van Gujars or the Labodis, like Gaddis or Bakarwals, they were not moving from one place to another. They actually started settling down. They cultivated crops to meet their requirement of food. They also plow. Okay, here you can see the Van Gujars, Gaddis, which we just read about. Khasis, we have Khasis, Mundas, we read about them just now. So this is the location of some of the tribal groups of India. You need to go through this map. And now we have our topic, the change in life of tribals after colonialism. So, what is colonialism? We read in our first chapter. Actually, colonialism is a process in which a powerful country controls other country politically and economically. That is colonialism. And our country was a colonial when there was a rule of British. So, how this British rule, this colonialism changed the life of tribals, this we will discuss here. So there were three types of impact. Political impact was there, economic impact was there, also social impact was there. So here we will discuss about the political impact. The colonialism not only resulted in the encroachment of forest land by the British, but also had an adverse effect on the political, economic and social life of the tribals. So how they politically impacted? There was tribal chiefs, as we already discussed. These tribal chiefs were deprived of their independence, authority and administrative power. That means they were not having any power now. They could still retain their plots of land and titles, but they had to follow the British rules and laws in exercising the function. Understood? They can have the plots of land, but on that what should be cultivated, how it should be cultivated, everything will be decided by the British. And the whatever they will have, whatever the British rules was there, they had to follow that. So you can say that it was not a kind of free power. They were not free. They had to follow, or they had to do everything according to the British rule. Now there was a joint ownership of lands. If you remember, we just discussed that when many of the members of clan, of the family together, if they are working on the land, they will have the joint ownership, and in that there will be tribal chief will be there. Now that tribal tradition of joint ownership of the land was disrupted. When this was disrupted, there was tension and conflict between the tribal societies. Now whose land is that? So everyone was in conflict, and there was a lot of tension in that society. The chiefs were forced to pay tribute to the British officials and also train their men according to British requirement. So these were some of the political impacts of the colonialism. Next topic will be continued in the next video. I hope you all understood all the topics in this video. Thank you.